Alright, today was an interesting day. I found an unusual poster at the Goodwill store and it almost got lost because I think somebody took it out. I can't remember if I just flinged it off the side, but I think somebody took it out of my cart and flinged it off the side. I said, "Where's my poster?" I was like, "Oh, there it is." And so I said, "You know what, I'm just going to go buy this thing." Turns out there's one copy of this Disney poster on eBay, and I'll just show you very quickly here, and I'll go through a couple of things here. And you're like, "Why are you talking about Disney posters?" We don't care. You should care. This is what I'm really irritated at the YouTube groups, whether it's the vinyl records or this group or that group, the sports cards or Pokemon or whatever. They only like to follow a couple pieces of stuff and ignore 90% of it. If you only understand Pokemon cards but you eschew all the other baseball cards and things, then you're not understanding your own Pokemon cards, if that makes any sense. So we got this poster here, and again, we're not going to talk about the paper, we're not going to talk about too much about the conditions. Somebody has gotten this as a souvenir, somehow poked holes in it. But it's "Live Your Adventure in a Galaxy Far, Far Away." You can not see that because I didn't sign up for this job to be a professional cameraman. But it's from Galaxy's Edge Disneyland Resort. He said, "Okay, well, this is probably a poster that they sell in their shop." It is not. Disneyland Park, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and its experiences are subject capacity. To book your magical vacation, contact us today. And then it's got Lucasfilms, or whatever, Star Wars kind of copyright in the corner there. Contact us today. So it's a promotional poster that was, originally designed for somewhere, whether a travel agency or somewhere in Southern California, wherever that would have been. It was there to promote something, and there's one on eBay in better condition than this one for $50. Now there's somebody that thinks it's funny that they can reprint exact copies of that in 11 by 17. Disneyland, "Oh, dear Disney, can I just borrow your poster design and copyright without asking you, and can I just basically make all the money and not hand a red cent over to you?" Or a green cent or orange cent. I can't know if you say red cent anymore, but make a long story short, no, you cannot. So, and they say, well, everybody does it, and Disney does it. Now, here's the thing here. This is what brings it down to all of us card collectors here. Because one person does it, then everybody says, well, if this person does it, then I can do that. If this person's getting away with it, then I can do that. And then somebody complains, well, how come they got dinged me and not them? And how come they're dinged and I didn't, or how come this happened? Well, I'll show you. I'm not going to show you all the details here, but I found this from 2023, which is decades ago, but I think it's pretty funny here. So, this person had a Wayne Gretzky or something, or no, he had a Michael Jordan reprint, and it was removed from eBay because reprints are not allowed, okay? And this guy went on to some sort of, in fairness to this particular person, I'm again not talk about who this is, they said, there's other people out there with these reprint cards there, and he got dinged, and the other people didn't. And he said, it was his God-given right to be making money on these copies of Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky, whether anybody liked it or not. That's what he said. I'll get to that in a second here. He says, especially when you advertise it as a reprint, what's the problem? So he was calling them reprints, okay? He was letting the customers know that these were not officially licensed cards, that he had any authorization to be printing. So basically, if it says Chicago Bulls on it, he felt like it was his right to basically steal the licenses of properties of the NBA. And think about it this way. We complain that all these companies don't have logos on their baseball cards, but then we go to eBay and print as many as we want with logos on the cards because we feel it's our right to do so. We've been wronged in the past, and we say we're going to right the wrong by basically stealing from all these larger companies, So that's what... But anyway, so somebody has said... And there's a bunch of replies. Some sellers get noticed and some don't. So it said eBay is basically the Wild West. Sometimes they treat other sellers better than others. Sometimes they catch things and sometimes they don't catch things here. A guy in the comments here, and this is so funny because in my stamp video, I said I bought these stamps from Iran as a joke, and I couldn't find anybody on the platform selling stamps from Iran. This guy says, for me, I can't sell Iranian stamps, but sellers are selling them in the USA. The bigger sellers seem to get away with it. They're just listing them as Middle East or some other country or whatever and throwing them in there. So they can't sell stamps from Iran, but people, work their way around it. Sometimes the auctions go through and sometimes they don't. And somebody says selective discrimination, so all the stuff there, so, it's just basically pick on some sellers and other. Authorized reproductions are allowed. you know, authorized reproductions are allowed, not fake counterfeit ones. Never go by what others do and always use eBay policy. So they say, well, other sellers get to do this. No, you follow eBay policy, not other sellers. And then something about eBay has 1 billion listings and their policy enforcement has never been 100% comprehensive. Again, people say, well, if eBay is not checking over in this corner, then I should be able to do this, shouldn't I? So this particular person says, whatever stuff there. And then this person here said, also, if you were actually selling a fake card, then what in the world did you expect? Okay, now this is where the kicker comes in. This is what brings it home to everybody. Okay, and he says, what do you mean by what in the world did you expect? Last time I had a Jordan reprint for sale, I got $75 for it. One of the Gretzky reprints was up for auction and sold for over $52. So that means because he got money out of it, it was okay for him to do that. He said, this is not peanuts. To him, that $40 and $75 or whatever was all the world to him. People cannot afford a $4,000, $10,000 thing. So that's why China's so popular. They steal from Nike, they steal from, Rolex, they steal from all these companies, and they make so. It's like, well, I can't afford a Rolex, so I can just go to Mexico and buy a Chinese, a Rolex. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Again, that's the thing. That is the thing. And so he's going on, it's like, geez, all I'm trying to do is provide somebody with a service. He's not trying to provide somebody with a service. He's trying to bilk somebody under eBay's rules, And he says, some even send them in for grading. The grading companies accept them as a collectible sports card. Sorry, but you do not speak for everyone. That's what they said. That's what they said. And so now he's basically saying the grading companies say it's okay, so he could do it. And then I haven't even got through the rest of it here. And then, so you're saying the blah blah listing was taken down because they don't like the blah blah. And okay, that's not a doubt that. Okay. And then again, why did Michael Jordan? The problem is that there are two kinds of reproduction cards: illegal ones and illegal ones. Again, so that's where it goes to antique and a lot of listings. I don't think whatever, just stuff. So. Yeah, so again, and then this guy in particular said, well, by the way, the reprints I'm making, I'm not hurting anybody. It's not hurting the value of the card. What am I doing? Well, essentially it said, it doesn't matter if you sold it for 5 cents or $500. It's still, again, Topps has to get all the licenses for their cards. Panini has to get licenses. If you cannot have MLB logos on there, they just can't do that. So what is different, making these custom cards on eBay and then putting, sometimes I'll blot out the logos or just use an unlicensed, some sort of image or whatever. It'd be like if I just basically wiped out the word Getty on a picture and used it on my baseball card, So again, just like printing money, it's legit to sell something as long as you inform the buyer it's not an original. So again, basically I can sell as many Rolexes as I want with the Rolex word on it. I just have to tell people that they're getting scammed. That's essentially what it is. Oh, by the way, I'm scamming you, and if you don't like the scam, then you could just go leave, all kinds of coins and guitars, Gibsons. There are Gibson guitars in there, but again, they're coming through all these different venues, and they say Gibson made in USA right on the guitars. Just because Gibson cannot catch everybody and cannot get everybody, that does not mean that it's legit to make those sort of things. So anyway, I don't know. So it says, well, it must be since 11, I don't know, because Gretzky reprints have been sold on eBay just... So again, some of these reprints are going through, some of them are selling them, some people are idiots and paying $50 for a worthless piece of paper. If you want a fake Gretzky, by all means, make your own. Just make your own for your own purposes. It's stupid. Really very, very stupid. Again, that's just a discussion for, something else. What the legalities of is a different thing. But again, this is just one thing where I have a poster here, and I felt that my poster was being devalued by the poster seller that was doing 11 by 17s that did not get Disney's approval for it. So somebody's going to see that and think that this is a $14 poster with holes in it, and then say, well, it's worth 10 or 7 or 6 or 8 or 5 or 4 or 3, 2, 1. And then what's going to happen, and then I have to argue with them. It's like, well, there's one up there for $50. Like, yeah, well, people can ask whatever they want. If you didn't know, Disney merchandise is basically not free. It's basically one of the costliest pieces of of garbage on the planet. Go to Disney and spend $40 and that's the cheapest thing in the freaking store. That's all I have to say about that. So again, it's frustrating when people think that they can do whatever the heck that they want, and then Topps and Panini basically get the shaft because they have to play by the rules, and you, a small person, are doing somebody a favor by giving them a cheap piece of paper with a picture they printed at home on it, calling it a collectible, and then that's just the dumbest thing on the planet. So again, and it makes everybody such wary about all the things at the show. That's why the jerseys were not selling even for 150 or 125 with all the Beckett authentication, and these are good sellers. I trust these sellers there, and so on and so forth. So they're probably legit stuff, and everybody's like, why is things going so cheap? And they didn't buy it. The guys are stuck with their merch because there's so much garbage out there that say you're not affecting the value, but you just cost all these people all at the card show sales from their jerseys because people now have doubt because of your fake cards on eBay and your fake 11 by 17 posters that Disney did not allow. And thank you for watching.